Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is a pretty cool thing. Tyler DeLuca is boots on the ground for a full-on live shot. This is as TV gets.
Oh, my goodness.
Meanwhile, I'm in Denver drinking the Alamo Smallbeck. I got my vino. We're pouring one out for UCLA and Texas to the loss to Vic Schaefer and Corey Close.
Yes.
Tyler DeLuca, boots in Tampa. This is pretty cool. How are we feeling, buddy?
Dude, I feel fantastic. I'm not gonna lie. Like, you know, I'm very excited. I'm very grateful to be here. But like, a lot of it felt like, okay, we're covering a game. I've covered a Final Four before, but like being here, boots on the ground, quite literally, like CBS is over there. He is like all the we're here with the big timers, and it's all because of your guys' support. So feeling very grateful. I just wish the games were full. That's all I wish. But hey, Real Hate's on the way. No Cat Space Bowl is on the way. Home Field has sponsored a bet between Greer, obviously a UConn fan, and Shawnee, obviously a South Carolina fan. The loser that has Home Field merch that was delivered today will be unboxing that for you tomorrow in a special video. And the loser will have to wear the other team's merch. And if you know anything about the pride and ethical hating of No Cap Space, that can only go incredibly smoothly. So I'm feeling great here and excited for our championship game to come, but ready to break these games down.
Look, as the viewer at home, there is no way you can lose. You either got to see Shawnee in UConn gear or Greer in South Carolina gear.
Oh, yeah.
And Tyler and I laughing our way up.
Instigating
the entire time. Folks, we're glad to have you in with us. It is the No Cap Space post-game show. We are presented by Home Field. Insert code NOCAP15 for those of you that still haven't gotten your Home Field merch yet. We got a whole bunch of great stuff, and it's not just women's basketball related. It's men's basketball. It's football. It is their NASCAR collection, which low-key, not a big NASCAR guy. Hendricks Motorsports, kind of a dope thing. And so if you are in, if you want a good discount on the first order, man, it's a killer. So a cheers to all of you at home. A cheers to our ball knowers in the paid subscription tier, because you guys helped also make this happen, getting our crew down there to Tampa. We're very, very grateful, very pleased to have you guys with us. So let's talk about some games, because this was a Final Four in which we figured out that there are two of the best teams in the country, led by two of the best coaches in the country. The first thing I want, Tyler, because you're down there at Amalie Arena, I want the vibes, because I heard a very specific number for South Carolina. I heard 42% of the arena.
I don't know about that.
Give me this. Are we majority South Carolina against Texas? Are we majority UConn versus UCLA? What was the energy in Amalie tonight?
Yeah. Well, first off, apologies. My AirPods oddly fit in my ears. Look, it's a weird thing. So if you see me doing that, we're making do, bro. This is the first time for everything. But I'll tell you right now, very, very easily more South Carolina fans in the first matchup, and very, very easily more UConn fans. It's going to be a madhouse in here on Sunday, y'all. Like, I am genuinely so incredibly excited for what that's going to look like in here. Look, both fans were loud. I'm not going to lie. Maybe it was just because UCLA didn't have a ton to cheer for. I think they were the quietest of the four fan bases today. But what we're going to get on Sunday is going to be electric between these two. Because, I mean, I don't know about no 42% or anything like that, but it was definitely majority for both fan bases in their games.
You know, the amazing thing to me is that, South Carolina fans got to pat themselves on the back. Like, we talk about this all the time with fans being the loudest on Twitter, fans being the loudest on social media in general. Fans show up. Fans
to the moon.
buy the A1s. Fans show up to the Asia pop-up. Fans show up to Amalie Arena in Greenville. They do the things that need to be done. And I think we're at a point now where it's very fair to say that the standard in women's college basketball is South Carolina, as well as their fan base. And that's where I want to start with this, because this is South Carolina and Texas, the Gamecocks come in. There's a lot of questions about what the Sweet 16 and Elite Eight matchups were, how they seem to maybe escape a little bit in those games. And then, of course, what we get is basically a redux of that championship game in the SEC tournament in Greenville. Did South Carolina look as good as they did in that SEC championship? And when you look, Tyler, at how they're able to feed off their crowd, how much do the fans matter when they are playing well and all of a sudden the crowd is cheering for a Raven Johnson rebound or a Joyce Edwards drive to the hoop where she's blowing by Kyla Oldacre?
Yeah, no, I thought in this game in particular, especially kind of out of the four, in our preview that we dropped earlier today, I was talking about how Texas started this game, right? And like making sure that they weren't shook and they didn't feel too big for the moment. Honestly, the South Carolina start was more flat, and that was not what was anticipated at all. But I'm telling you, man, Asia Wilson was sitting right there. I'm right next to the bench right now. Asia Wilson was right behind that bench. Her and the rest of the fans here were turned up. And I do fully buy into that when it comes into the impact that a fan base can have, and especially on the road like this, at a neutral site and everything. Like, it was legitimately like, I don't know if Vic talked about the crowd or not, but if he was going to, I mean, there's reasonable cause to talk about crowd noise in this game because, I mean, just again, dominant from that. And when it comes to South Carolina's play, I mean, it's odd because I think in my head I still relate it to the dominance and the standard of South Carolina, right? And so, like, especially when you look back, you just coming off a championship where you went undefeated and you did it with a dominant post. So but you're obviously here for a reason. You've made it back here for a very, very good reason, and you are defending your championship now for a very good reason. So I think it's almost hard for me when I think of dominant, it's not the same. But obviously, again, you're very, very good. You have a machine that is different. It is completely different cogs in this machine that I think we've ever seen for a South Carolina team that has been so reliant on that dominant big. And obviously, I know that's been the discourse really since Ashton Watkins went down, especially between me and you. We've caught plenty of slack about it. And fair, by the way, like, I am both okay with us asking and us getting dunked on. I understand. Again, they're very good. And it just feels like Dawn Staley continues to figure out a way. And that is such a testament to just how good of a coach Dawn Staley is, and obviously how great a recruiter that this program is, just to have the talent to come in. Like, you have a Dowda, for example, in this game. We haven't talked about her this entire tournament, and he then comes in and gives genuinely good minutes, right? And just being able to have that is such a unique luxury. But you can have all the talent you want, but if you don't know how to utilize it, it doesn't matter. And that's what makes Dawn Staley so great. So it's different, but dominant in a new way for South Carolina.
So we'll run through the stats here real quick because it really is. There's a couple impressive components about what I see here. The first is Tahina Paopao, 5 of 6 from the floor, 3 of 4 from 3, and the threes that she hit were massive at, like, extremely important times. And we look at the efficiency of Joyce Edwards at 4 for 11, but that 13 and 11, interestingly, despite all of the WNBA level bigs that they've had, Tyler, first double-double for a Gamecock in the Final Four in the Dawn Staley era, which was legit a shock, because the thought process was Leah Boston would have had it, Asia Wilson, nope,
for sure.
And I'll say this too, because I think we talked about this the last time through. I think a lot of analysts are worried about being freezing cold taked. I don't care. I'm not on Twitter. Freezing cold takes might be on Blue Sky, but I don't give a shit. We were wrong. I was wrong. Like, I thought, and I still believe, it was a very reasonable thing to look at Ashlyn Watkins' ACL injury and go, okay, you've lost your primary rim protector. You've lost your fear factor in the post. You have lost your rim runner. And think, okay, maybe the ceiling for this team is somewhere around the Final Four.
Yeah.
And instead, this is what Dawn Staley does. Because this is what they did last year. They had a couple of scares where they gave away big leads against Indiana and Oregon State. And you're thinking, okay, they're going to get to the Final Four. They're going to see Iowa again. They're gonna see a top team again. And what ends up happening is they peak in the Final Four and beat the crap out of everybody. And that to me is the Dawn Staley effect. That is why Dawn Staley is the GOAT. Because I'll give you the fun fact, and I don't know, we got 124 people on this live stream right now. I don't even know if you guys know this. To me, Dawn Staley in South Carolina making the Final Four this year, and I am dead ass when I say this, vaults her over Pat Summitt as the greatest SEC coach of all time. And the reason I say this, it sounds like a hot take because you look at rings, but I'm not talking rings. What I'm talking about is 5 straight Final Fours. There have only been 4 coaches in NCAA women's basketball history that have made 5 straight Final Fours. Gina Auriemma, Muffet McGraw, Tara Vanderveer, Dawn Staley. Pat Summitt may have the titles, but Pat Summitt did not make 5 straight Final Fours at any point, AIAW or NCAA, in her career. And we can talk rings, we can talk eras, we can do this stuff. But to me, this is Dawn Staley's finest coaching job, easily. The fact that you're back here in the national championship after the year that you had, losing Camila Cardoso, losing Ashlyn Watkins to injury when your team is so big-centric, as you mentioned, that's a huge, huge deal. That's coaching. That's Jolette Law being able to scout. That's Winston Gandy being, on the way out, going to Grand Canyon to take over for Molly Miller and still being with this team and handling the defensive scouting and assignments for this group. That to me is a huge, huge accomplishment. Like to South Carolina, this is a huge accomplishment. And I will say this, because we're on the topic here of trying to assess our bad takes in real time.
Yeah.
Raven Johnson has taken a lot of shit this year. And on some level, I think that the discussion around Raven has been, is she a lottery pick or a first-round pick? I would like to believe that the discussion has never been around whether or not she is a roster player in the WNBA. I think all of us at No Cap Space have felt that she's a roster player, but the belief of whether or not she's a first round or a lottery player is something that's up for debate. Tonight, to me, was, if you don't think she's a roster player at all, this was the night for you to shut the hell up. Because when you look at her work on the boards, especially offensive rebounds, the shot might not have fallen. And that is what it is. That's going to be a discussion at a higher level. But the ability to be an energy player, the effort, the boards, to be able to share the ball and then clamp defensively, she made a massive difference tonight. And I feel like people respond to that. For you, do you feel like we got to see a little bit of that discussion with Raven this evening, where I know that the common theme is, hey, she does things beyond the box score. I feel like tonight, this was like a proving night of okay, what we saw beyond the box score, that actually, it mattered. It mattered in this game, especially in the first half.
Yeah. I mean, I think honestly I think this was a good showcase of it. I think, frankly, the problem with the entire Raven discourse is the I don't know if hyperbole is the word, but just maybe the extremity of it, where it's she's either a lottery pick or she's not going to be on a WNBA roster. And there's no middle. There's no middle. And I think tonight, and I think several nights, honestly, recently, kind of down the stretch here, has shown exactly why, she is the starting point guard on this South Carolina team. I don't think, again, I think the discourse gets a bit hyperbolic at times, but tonight was one of those nights where I truly did feel like we got to see exactly why. I mean, Diane Taurasi was on the show literally talking. Oh my god! Oh my
Dunk him! Dunk him!
Look
who's in here!
Look who it is! Oh my goodness! But yeah, I think tonight we're talking Raven Johnson.
Good.
I think tonight was was that night. If you don't mind, can I tell you when I think Texas lost this game?
Absolutely. But before you do,
Yes,
before
yes,
we
yes,
bring
yes.
on Shawnee, I want to do something for a long-time member of our chat because he's been talking cash, and you know what? Our boy Faz was right.
Faz,
You know,
Faz,
it ain't Hob,
you were right,
it's
Faz.
Faz was right, baby.
Faz, you were
You're
right.
here. You did it.
You
All
were
the
right.
commenting about Paige, it finally occurred. Faz, I tip my cap.
Shout out
I'll
Faz.
take the L. Shouts to Faz. You got me good, bro. I'm in. All right. Shawnee, hop on in. I would love to hear some thoughts on South Carolina this evening.
Shawnee goes, are you listening? She goes, yeah, I'm subscribed.
You know what? She's doing better than Rashard is.
Yeah, she is doing better than Rashard. Do you want an AirPod? Like, would you like to join? Like, I mean, you're here now. Like,
oh no, I'm good. I don't want to disturb you.
this is ridiculous.
She says as she pops into the
this is
cameo.
like literally in the frame. Like, would you like an AirPod?
No, I'm good.
No, like you're just gonna stand here.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you when I thought Texas lost this game. Okay. When Jordan Lee does not come into this game in the second half until 5 minutes left in the third quarter. I have been pressing this agenda with Jordan Lee throughout this season. I'll tell you, when it started for me was seeing it in person, that first SEC game against Oklahoma, where it was a nasty game, yet still she was the one in that game to really like kind of put them over the top, I felt like. And I was so mad. But the thing is that in this game, the inevitable South Carolina third quarter run and that second half run was always going to happen, right? And you had one player that was truly giving you genuine offensive production in this. And while also playing good defense as well. Jordan Lee is not a bad defender by any means. And instead you roll with who I would have personally subbed out is Shea Holly in that starting lineup, and you put her in. Shea Holly just didn't have the offensive juice. That's just not what, as a player. And because of that, I felt like that's when they lost it. Because early in this, and I felt like, generally speaking, like, and my whole critique about Texas this entire season is that even when they have you down in the mud, they can't build a lead. So, at any point, as long as you just get out of the mud at some point, you can come back and build a lead and get them back, right? And in this, they had Jordan Lee was the player. With Madison Booker out, with the early foul trouble, Jordan Lee was the player that was getting them on the offensive production. That was allowing them to kind of at least stay stable in the Madison Booker minutes, because I think that's when South Carolina kind of took like a 3-point lead going into the half. Not seeing her and then really not playing through her or getting her any shots in that second half is, to me, the inability to pivot to that, where you finally find some offensive production is where this really went kind of haywire for me. And I, as a Jordan Lee truther this entire season, it hurt. It hurt to see here in person.
I am the Jordan Lee truther of Jordan Lee truthers, and I say this because I saw it in person live. Jordan Lee, for those that don't know, Jordan Lee went to St. Mary's High School in Stockton, the same high school as USC legend Jackie Gamellos, and the same high school as Chelsea Gray. I watched Jordan Lee take that St. Mary's team to the CIF NorCal Championships by herself, completely by herself. Ended up losing to a Folsom team that is Mackenzie Forbes' alma mater. Jordan Lee's her, and she showed it in the first half. And what bothers me about how Vic Schaefer handles this team is it's very old school. It is it's so pre-2022. And the thing that bothers me the most about it is when you look at 2023, right? You look at South Carolina losing to Iowa. The discussion and the lesson that Dawn Staley took away from that loss was, I got to get myself some three-point shooters. She goes out and gets Tahina Paopao. She brings in Tessa Johnson in recruiting. She has an extended amount of guards that basically focus on three-point shooting, where, yes, you have your mid-range, but you become a three-level scoring team. Every team seems to have taken the lesson from 2023, where Caitlin and Iowa just shot the hell out of the ball. Vic Schaefer decided to say, fuck that. I am sticking to the mid-range and the circle, and that's it. And you can't win that way because as much as people love the mid-range, Lynn Roberts with the LA Sparks is right. 3 is more than 2. And when you have a player like Rory Herman or a star like Madison Booker, and they're at the three-point line and they take 2 steps inside the line to shoot a long 2, that to me is a low-efficiency shot. Why would you do that? Why would you coach that? It's like people strategizing for World War II, and you've got the one country that's like, you know what, we can do trench warfare still. The battle of attrition can work. It doesn't matter if we have a fleet of airplanes that are dropping bombs on us.
Bayonets versus nuclear missiles.
Yeah, like it's bringing a knife to a gunfight, to use the old adage, and I feel like that's what Texas did tonight. And it sucks because Madison Booker started off this game extremely hot, and it felt like she took the last 2 performances against South Carolina personally. But to me, and we put it in the subscriber chat for the ball knowers on Substack, my perspective on it was, if it's 12-6 and there's 3 or 4 minutes left in the first quarter, you have failed against South Carolina because you shouldn't still have 12 points. If South Carolina has played this bad that they only have 6 points in the first quarter, you need to bury them. And what you can't allow Dawn Staley to do is you can't let them stick around. It's 2016 Warriors coded. It's Golden State vibes where it's like a 2-point lead doesn't feel like a lead. A 10-point lead over them feels like a 2-point lead. And when they're up 2, it feels like they're up 10. And that, to me, is the essence of South Carolina and why they're so good and why Texas feels like they fell apart. To me, the greatest sin of all, if Hannah Hidalgo needs to go to confession for anything, look, I say this as a lapsed Catholic, okay? And you would know this. You're similarly Italian. You came up in the Catholic Church the same way I did. If there's one thing Hannah Hidalgo needs to go to confession for, it's the fact that she tanked this Notre Dame locker room and allowed us to get Texas in this again for the 4th straight time. I'm tired. I wanted Notre Dame. And the reason I say this is like, beside the joke, is the fact that like realignment has put us in this place where I'm worried about the fact that we're going to get multiple rematches going forward, whether it's Sweet 16, Elite 8, Final Four. We're going to get super conference rematches of the Big 10, or the SEC. And it's like, great. I'm saying maybe if Mark Campbell has something to say about it, maybe. But like, you're seeing rematches and you're seeing teams that are familiar with each other. And I don't know if that's a great thing for the game in like a broad perspective. Do we really need this 4 times? Especially when we know Vic Schaefer left the SEC specifically to get away from Dawn Staley, and then Texas brought him right back to his biggest nightmare, and now he has to see Dawn Staley in his dreams every single night. This had to have sucked for Vic, and I feel very bad for him in that respect, but like also you have to evolve, you have to advance. Like your way of how you look at the game has to change. What were the vibes on the Texas bench? Like I'd imagine after a certain point, there's got to be a demoralizing feeling to this, right? Yeah. Like what did you see?
I saw Vic taking a timeout with 8 minutes left in the third quarter, and then not bring Jordan Lee in.
Cook, take the ISO. Cook and take the ISO. I'm gonna sip my wine. Alamos, by the way, $12.99. Great Malbec.
That's not a sponsor. That's not.
No, it's not. But I'm gonna shout them out anyway. It's No Cap Wife's favorite wine though.
Yeah, I mean, look.
All right, ISO on Vic.
Shawnee's done. I think Greer's on the way from the locker room for people that are. We're recording a whole nother post game show for you, so you get double. That's why they're not here right now. I know.
And not drunk me.
Yeah, so we're promised they're coming. But like honestly, not even an ISO. Like it's kind of just that simple to me. If that's what we're doing, like you just get like a glimpse of the South Carolina run, like and it felt like just such an inability to pivot. And like you take that time out with 8 minutes, and I'm like, okay, we're getting Jordan Lee in, we're pivoting. Like that's it. Okay, like you didn't start off with it. You roll with your starters. It didn't work. Pivot, and then you roll, and then Jordan Lee's on the court. I like not to like oversimplify it, but like that felt like the basketball OTA out of timeout. Like, that's what it felt like. I felt like Texas bench going, I don't know.
Yeah.
And so I'm before we can move on to UConn UCLA on that, but like I just again I was left just dumbfounded at several things that went down from Texas, and again a game that at the beginning, I mean for the whole first half you're only down by 3, you're only down by 3,
Yeah.
and that's and to go out like that and where they did in the second half when I felt like there was options available it doesn't feel good. It feels pretty brutal, honestly. We'll see if Roy Harmon comes back next year. That is still a question that is yet to be answered. She still has a year of eligibility. I think Jordan Lee year 2 next to year 3 Madison Booker. Please. You got great recruits coming in as well. I'm excited to see what this evolves into, but it simply has to evolve. That is the biggest thing. Texas has to evolve, or this is going to be their fate. And like, yes, you made it to a Final Four, but like, yes, you made it to a Final Four. Yes, that is an accomplishment. With such a dire need to change, yes, and without that evolution, it's not going to happen. So that's what I'm interested in seeing next season. Let's talk UConn UCLA.
Well, before we do, just
Yeah. Look,
fans, South Carolina fans that have been in our comments, that have called us haters, I am sorry. We have doubted you. And we're at the point, in total fairness, we're at the point where I thought South Carolina would have lost. I said Ashton Watkins out of the lineup takes your ceiling from national championship to Final Four contender. And here you are in the national championship again. So I will shut the fuck up from now on. I will never doubt Dawn Staley. I'm not going to turn around and say, all right, I guess we're going to be in this scenario where maybe this is the year South Carolina gets caught. Nope. No. Classic South Carolina. Like, this is the craziest thing. Classic South Carolina is now you avoid near misses in the Sweet 16 and Elite 8 only to peak in the Final Four. I have zero doubt in my mind now South Carolina is going to turn around and beat UConn by like 20. This is the bullshit of South Carolina. Like, this is Dawn Staley, like, magic craziness, like, because I thought this shit last year, and I think this shit this year. Okay?
Where's Greer?
It's one of these things where, like, I'm done doubting this fucking team. I'm done doing it. For whatever reason, whether it is buying into the system, whether it is buying into what Dawn is asking, whether it is Dawn just being more balanced and more focused in these moments than other coaches. And we talked about this in the Elite Eight game against Duke, right? It's Tiger on Sunday vibes where like some other coaches, Gino notwithstanding, because I think Gino's been here and gets it, but like other coaches just kind of piss down their leg because they know Dawn's on the other side and Dawn is just composed as shit as a coach in these moments. Like I can't keep doing this doubt with South Carolina. Like and I know there's like a lot of South Carolina fans that are like, oh, maybe we'll win this game. Like maybe we you got the confidence. And I will say this year, from a broad media standpoint, because this is how we're gonna segue into UConn UCLA. This is exactly what women's basketball needs. In a post-Caitlin college basketball era, what drives interest in college basketball is teams. It's coaches. It's not necessarily players. Caitlin Clark was a singular phenomenon where people root for the individual player. But when we go to college and we look at college basketball and we look at it historically, it's been Gino, it's been Pat, it's been Coach K, it's been Roy Williams, it's been Bill Self. It's the coaches that make the sport. And what is really cool about what we get here is we almost get a return to what college basketball is in essence, which is coaches, Dawn Staley and Gino Auriemma. And I don't want to say that like I'm pushing South Carolina propaganda because Gino's Paisan, all right? Gino has a
From the
vowel in
homeland.
his last name, just like Tyler DeLuca.
Come on now.
And also
Come
UConn
on
beat
now.
the hell out of South Carolina when they actually went to CLA. This is a different ball game. But let's talk about UConn because, dog, if we get this version of AZ Fudd,
Bro,
as much
dude.
faith as I have in Dawn Staley and South Carolina, if we get this AZ Fudd on Sunday, it might be wraps, and Shawnee might be wearing Husky home field gear come the post-game show. Because this was a performance over the number one overall seed.
Yeah, dude, I am all in on the People's Princess. Okay, I'm
That's
all in on the
crazy
People's
to say.
Princess. Put me on the royal court. Whatever you need to do, whatever her fandom is called. I am a loyal subject of the People's Princess, AZ Fudd. I mean, look, dude, you want to talk about an absolute flamethrower, like an absolute flamethrower, and like I like it just kind of kept happening, right? Like at the beginning of this game, like okay, she makes one. Okay, like is Paige gonna make? Oh no, Paige misses another. Paige misses another midi, right? Oh, okay, like is UCLA gonna make the run now? Then it's AZ, then it's AZ, then it's AZ, then it's AZ, then it's Sarah. Like and like it is the amount of firepower on this UConn squad when they are all clicking in this because Paige didn't have a great game. Like not especially with the way that she has been playing, you know, in comparison, right? Like and so for UConn, like if I told you that the score of this game was the score of this game, right?
Mm-hmm.
You would imagine you get another Paige 30 plus points, and you get good games from Sarah and AZ. Bro, AZ and Sarah were outscoring UCLA for the majority of this game. Like it was just, I mean, look, I understand your confidence in South Carolina. I understand your standpoint on not wanting to doubt them because I think that's all fair. However, if this is how Sarah Strong and AZ Fudd are coming in on, and this is how they perform, and that's not even getting into the defensive side of the ball today, where they forced tons and tons of turnovers, especially early on in this game. Dude, this feels like an absolute wrecking crew. And they're meeting at a very, very fun time, right? Like you mentioned, like for South Carolina to get a good win back after the struggles kind of earlier in the tournament, and now this. And I fully expect. What do you have to do to deny Paige Beckers a win? I don't know the answer to that. And especially with the team that she has around her, I don't know the answer to that. If someone has the answer, I feel like it's going to be South Carolina. But I'm so moved by what I saw from AZ and Sarah today.
To me, the big question is, can Bree Hall handle the secondary assignment, right?
Yeah.
And to me, the fascinating thing from a coaching perspective is like, what does Dawn decide to do? Raven Johnson is defender number one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Best on-ball defender South Carolina has. Do you put her on Paige or do you put her on AZ? And do you trust Bree Hall to be on that second side? Bree Hall is a phenomenal defender, but it's very obvious that Raven is defender 1A and you put her on 1A. Now, I want to bring this up because I want to display exactly why I feel this way, right? So let me pop this in here. And this is tonight's box, right? AZ Fudd 7 of 12, 3 of 5 from 3.
Wait, real quick.
Oh wait, who's coming in?
Hold on.
Oh, hold on.
Sean, I'm also not only is it Shawnee, but let's back up. The whole fam is here.
Okay.
Real quick, y'all.
Yep.
quick.
Put them in.
They can't hear. I said that hair buzzing, so they can't hear you directly. But I'm just gonna kind of echo your sentiments and just get immediate, quick reactions. We still.
I'm gonna ask the question, and you ask them the question because we can still hear you in the background.
Okay.
Okay. Whole crew here.
Okay. So look. So Andrew said. Correct me if I'm misquoting. Again, we're just gonna do quick hits because we're gonna film a whole post game show. So y'all just get a little teaser, right? And then we're gonna wrap up and film. But look, Andrew said that South Carolina's winning by 20 plus.
He's wrong.
I like how even Shawnee's not moved by that comment.
You said that you're not even moved by it. Oh, you just think it's like, duh?
I mean, I don't know where that's coming from. Because I don't remember you being on that side.
No, he had actually a whole apology for the fans today. Like we'll have to show you. We'll have to like run it back and get a reaction or something because he had like a full on.
It's okay.
Apology.
He'll be apologizing to me.
Well, that's what I was thinking. I was like, this might just end up with another apology.
It is.
Andrew, one quick question. And the Andrew apology tour is wicked. Okay, Andrew, we're gonna have to wrap up here soonish because people. It's
like nowish.
Nowish, right? Now,
are we getting kicked off?
Well, I think they're kicking.
Give me the AirPod. Hey, bro.
Yes, give me the AirPod. I want to hear
It's
this.
12:30, bro.
Yeah,
Like,
we're trying to go to Waffle House. That's what we're trying to get to is to go to Waffle House, and we still have to record ours.
I'm letting you guys know we have other content coming.
What?
We're done for the night.
Okay, all right. As we go, as we wrap to get ready, we need the whole fam's like 1 to 2 sentence description of what happened tonight and 1 to 2 sentence description for the live audience of what we're going to get this week on Sunday in the title game.
What happened tonight was we got it done. What's going to happen Sunday is we're going to get it done. Like, we're extending the legacy. It's up. I can't stress this enough. What is it? Don is actually like undefeated against Gino in the finals, right? Yeah. Want to know? Yeah. Just want to know. Hey,
Undefeated.
We're undefeated.
Yeah.
We add to that on Sunday.
Okay, Greer, I'll ask the same question. All right,
Greer gets the AirPod.
What happened tonight? What happened tonight? What happens on Sunday? We're gonna have like a full preview coming your way with all the shit talking you would expect.
I mean, what happened tonight was that UCLA was not only limited in the shots that they got, but they also didn't hit the ones that they took. Right, and you could tell that was a massive point of emphasis for the perimeter D for UConn and the guards. And then, turning UCLA over as much as they did to start, UCLA just did not get it any kind of cohesive offense.
Yeah.
And that was the big difference to me. And then obviously, the three-headed monster and AZ Fudd, Sarah Strong, Paige Beckers.
Quick question. So I said that like I am a proud disciple or like under the people's princess. Is there like a is it what do we call ourselves? Like, because like I was like put me on like the royal court. Like I don't know what I need to do to be like with the people's princess, but like I'm locked in.
Gestures, because like what's going on? Okay.
Yeah.
But I would like to interrupt real quick. We have videos uploaded. See with UConn players. Go check. I'm not gonna tell you.
Yeah, on the channel right now. Right now.
Subscribe. Boop, 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 boop.
We got questions. Was ducking me. I haven't seen him yet. I don't know that.
He walked right by actually. He walked right by me. He actually walked right by earlier. Yes.
Before we wrap, I have two questions. First is to Greer. Among the three, AZ, Paige, Sarah, who has the best game on Sunday?
Well, AZ had 28 in the game back in February.
Okay.
Mm.
Do we get a Paige legacy game?
I mean, it's going to be that regardless, right?
Ooh, ooh.
It's going to be that regardless, right?
Faz. Faz, the homie Faz.
Bro, Faz.
You feel
Faz is
sick?
spamming the chat.
All right,
Bro.
well, I'm with him. I'm with Faz.
Rolling
Yes.
with Faz.
I'm rolling with Faz. You know, this is as much as you can control your own destiny. This is as close as you can. Yeah, I'm rocking with Faz.
Okay, Andrew,
Okay.
your follow-up question?
Okay. My follow-up question is, how much fun did Shawnee have taking a picture with a cutout of Sabrina Ionescu today?
Yeah. Put that back in.
I love
Come
how
here,
you both gave her.
Come here. Actually,
Okay,
Andrew, I will allow you to re-ask that.
Okay, Shawnee, can you hear me?
Yes.
How much fun was it to take a picture with a cardboard cutout of your idol, Sabrina Ionescu, before you walked into Amalie Arena today?
I was under extreme duress. Threats were made against. You don't understand. I did this because threats were made against people's lives. Your dog was in danger. So I would like everybody to understand, like that's what I do. The sacrifices I make for this group, the churches together. I was under duress. Like bad things were going to happen. You're gonna wake up with a UConn fatigue head in my bed if I didn't, So certain stipulations came that I can't really get into detail. The pool, the powers that be. I was under duress. So.
Yeah.
But also, it's like I'm still. It kind of.
You broke out in hives.
Yeah. Hey. What's funny is that there's more of that in the vlog that's coming out.
Okay.
The vlog that we're trying to do. So we'll see how well it comes out, but we're gonna try and give y'all a vlog.
So we're hitting 42. I know you guys gotta do your stuff because it's 12:35 Tampa time.
Yeah.
I want to let everybody know that we're making a run, not like a run on the banks like we're seeing everywhere else in the world right now. What we're seeing is a run on the paid subscribers, because once we get to paid subscriber 100 on Substack, and we're gonna put it here.
He's promoting. He's promoting.
I'm promoting big. Once you get a paid subscription at nocapspacewbb.com, which is in the live chat right now, once you get those things, at paid subscriber 100, Johnny and I are going to finally have gauntlet cage match of the origin of Slack Mamba and the true discussion of Sabrina Ionescu and why Sabrina is such a lightning rod within the chat and is, of course, a big difference.
Content.
Look, I promise content silver. I don't know what you're talking about. Also,
this is
Law
true.
Prom
Plenty.
may be worse than the game. Law Prom might have been worse than this post. We'll find out and figure it out.
Yeah.
But
What I
yes,
understand is I have something in the drafts already. I wrote this like months ago.
Bro,
it's
And
been
it's
sitting
in
in there for
draft, so
months.
it's like I'm just gonna read it word for word. And
like
we're
the
gonna
Declaration of Independence.
Yeah.
Like
Where in the course of human events if Sabrina Ionescu is allowed to be a star in this game? But yes,
All right.
we'll get to all of it.
But 100. We're about like 15 away, I think.
We have about 85 or so. But yes, folks,
And there's gonna be
we're
plenty
glad
of
that you could
content
be
coming
around.
out.
Plenty of content coming. Subscribe to the page here on YouTube. Subscribe to us on Substack. There will be plenty of discussion about Paige, about AZ, about Sarah Strong, about Raven, about Joyce, about Mylasia Full Wiley, about Dawn, about Gino, and everything else. We have so much coming, and we have an entire video coming your way, as well as a vlog from the Waffle House, evidently. So for Andrew,
I'm
for
about to mess
Tyler,
with
for
Waffle House
Shawnee
up.
and Greer, I as the point of contact for the NCAA for the three of you, please don't get into a fight at Waffle House. No Cap Space wants to go viral in the right ways. I trust all three of you so much so. And I hope that all of you have a great night. Folks, any final words from Tampa before we wrap up our live.
I don't. If I don't win,
Tomorrow.
yeah, no. Tomorrow, more content dropping, previews. Again, the home field bet is on the way. We officially have the No Cap Space Bowl. It is officially here. It has come together, and I'm very excited to see one of these wonderful and dedicated fans in the gear of their other team right after losing the national championship. So we're just getting started here in Tampa, so make sure you're tapped in across all the platforms. And, folks, that'll do it from us. That will do it from us. Since this morning.